Hi guys, back again. A couple of you commented in the last video, which I talked about Mercury retrograde, all this past stuff coming up, how do we trust, and kind of get past that so that we can start to change our own patterns and behaviors through deeper healing of our wounds and so on and so forth. And I told a little story about how my twin flame forgot his phone last week and we were forced into a mini separation for a day, which was interesting, but it kind of forced me into using those separation tools that I haven't called upon truly in a long time. Because in that mini day without contact, there was a longing, right? There was this sense of, wondering if the other person was okay. It's not our regular routine. It's not like our day-to-day routine. So we both felt very disconnected. So some of you in the comments said, well, what are the separation tools? And I posted a lot of videos like this when I was going through separation at the beginning, starting to learn the tools of how to navigate. There's one video in particular you might want to watch called Holding Space versus Waiting for Twin Flames. And that was probably maybe about 8-9 months ago, maybe almost a year ago. So you can watch that. Also recently posted a video about surrender and how to stay there. And that's also relevant. But in today's video, I figured I would just talk about what are the separation tools and how do we call upon them and how do we use them the best of our ability. So tools that, I've learned and that I have been teaching others are this, like I stated it in my surrender video, are this shift of focus onto ourselves. Because often when we're, missing the other person, longing, all of that, that's like the sort of us being out of alignment with ourselves. Okay. So when we get back into our focus, so what I found during that little mini separation, mind you, I've been in full separation with my twin, so I know how it feels and I understand where you guys are coming from, but I'm just going to allude back to that one day, a day ago, where we couldn't have contact and we wanted to, but we just couldn't. So because he forgot his phone. So in that, the universe served that up to us. And in that, I was really wanting to focus on him. And rather than going to a place of being mad, I sort of kind of thought, well, maybe he'll come home sometime during the day and get the phone. Okay, that's reasonable. That's pretty logical. Or maybe not. Well, when's he coming home and why, and all those questions that you would ask if you were in a longer separation. When am I going to see him again? And so, like I said, something had to kick in to help me just let that all go. All right, you know what? He's going to be back when he's supposed to. He's going to come back. He's safe. Everything's good. I just need to focus on my work. So I went back into my work day and refocused. So that the stuff that came up wasn't angst, it wasn't worry, it wasn't anxiety, it was trust. I had to just trust, this is all in divine order. And instead, I found myself moments throughout the day sending him love. So when he came home, I had sent him a text. I knew he didn't have his phone. I was right in front of it. So I had sent him a text for when he does read it so he would know that I was thinking about him. I had written him little notes, like love notes. I was thinking about him and sending him a beam of light and love. And when I was in the true separation, and he was playing out a karmic relationship, we didn't talk. He would text me. I would try not to respond. And we didn't talk for months. So and I've mentioned this in past videos, I used to send him a beam of light every single day. It would often be when the sunlight was shining upon my face. I could feel him. I could almost see his essence where he was standing as I would shoot that beam of love. And I would just send it in its purity. Then I'd get a text and it would spiral me into all this 3D stuff and pull me out of surrender. But eventually I got good at staying surrendered and staying in that place of just sending love and not needing the contact. And also trusting. All that time that we didn't, physically talk, that's blind faith. That is the ultimate test of faith in a relationship. And I had an inner sense of knowing what this connection was. So many of you come to me in private session and you're like, I don't know if this is my twin flame, but it certainly seems like it. And I say to you, only you can validate that, because deep down, you know. There's a reason why you stumbled upon the concept. There's a reason why you're aligning with all of the symptoms. And there's a reason why this is sparking such a great healing for you, and in a bigger and deeper way than anything else has. And also the connection is just undeniable. And you know this. So in that undeniable connection, there is this needing an absolute requirement of trusting it. And that's where most of us get tripped up. Because when you trust it, I had a twin flame call the other day. I think it was in a reading. And my client said to me, like, I know she's like, we're in separation right now. He's in a running phase. It was all that ego stuff. And she said, I know he's coming back. But then in the next minute, she's like, but do you know what's going to happen? I'm like, well, you already know. You know you're going to see him again. You know you're going to talk to him again. You know the connection is not broken. You know what it is at the soul level. So if you, in your separation, can honor it at the soul level, like sending the love, not the angst, instead of getting mired in worry and frustration and expectation, really stay in that place of appreciation and sending good vibes and sending love and sending hopes for that person's well-being. And using the 5D tools as well as the signs and synchronicities to your advantage, which means the signs from the universe, they're talking to you. So in the separation, there may be messages coming through that, right? Letting you know that all is well. This connection is alive and good. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to see it, touch it, feel it to know that it's there. This is something that defies this time-space reality. And it expands way past it. And so once we really get comfortable with that notion and we learn to trust that, then we can allow for all of this language to come in through the signs so that we understand how to trust it better and have the validations and start to get the messages. Like, for instance, when I was in the physical separation, I used to get certain songs that would come on, and I knew they were just telling me, like, don't worry. It was like certain songs like, don't worry about this. And very symbolic type music, like with different lyrics that really just resonated. And I was like, yep, I know, I'm going to trust this. I'm going to trust this. But even when you're not in those moments of receiving those signs, because they are all around you all the time, or you're not quite there into the true interpretation of them yet, you can still trust in the separation. When we feel low and yucky in the separation is when we're like if I had waited the entire day for him to come home, looked at the clock, looked at his phone, waited by the door, waited at the window, and then what if he didn't come home on time? What if he had to work late? What if I would have been going out of my mind? But instead, he came home and we ran to each other. It was like we both felt the same thing. We both just trusted. He wasn't using his friend's phone to call me to make sure I was okay. We just trusted. This is supposed to be this way today. We're both busy. We're going to focus on us. And this is, whether it's the analogy here is I've been through both. I've been through the months of separation. I've been through that day. I've been through it before the dynamics had shifted, before we had come into, union and not. So, but it's essentially the same thing. They're the same tools. It's, if you spend all those months or even years for some of you waiting and pining and in your angst or in your anger, in your worry, the time's going to go by really slow, and it's going to be a very antagonizing process. And we don't want you to feel tormented. The universe doesn't want you to feel tormented. You know, you can actually navigate this in joy. It's more about, you know, letting the 3D stuff go. I've also received comments about, oh, my twin flame's such a jerk. Oh, God, you guys, all of our twin flames are jerks. It's our ego stuff that's still yet to be shed. It's the pieces of us that are unhealed. It's the way we are triggered into reactivity. It's, you know, from the masculine, a lot of times it's non-commitment, it's lying, it's secrecy, it's conservative thinking, not wanting to break old patterns, not sure what he wants to do. Like, and these are just regular relationship issues too. It doesn't have to be a twin flame. But this, with twin flames, the progress begins as you, the more awakened one, in a metaphoric way, you are healing at a deeper level, and your twin will too. So although like I get these concepts and I teach these concepts, my twin and I, we're still actively practicing them, putting them into practice. And we're getting better at repatterning now. Okay. But like I said in my last video, I said to him, I had to go into my separation tools. He's like, what are those? He doesn't have to be, although he knows what twin flames are and he knows about this concept, he hasn't dug into this the way that I have, obviously. And he doesn't have to. Do you understand that? He doesn't need to do that. It's not a requirement. There are tools there for him when he's ready, but that's not up to me to lead him there. That's up to him. And, you know, our twin flames will keep the blinders on as long as possible. However, while those blinders are on, you'll see as you heal that they will start to, and their behaviors will start to shift and things will start to improve. And as you start to become non-reactive, they will too. And as you start to heal this core wound, theirs will heal too on some level. So the more aware they become of things, then they can get real active in doing this work. But that's a process. And again, it's not up for you to decide that. So when you say like, oh, my twin's so stupid, or treated me so bad, or I'm done with him or her, that's just understand that that's ego. So if you're in a separation and say you're moving on to a new karmic relationship, okay, and you're like, I'm done with the way that my twin flame has treated me, because I just heard that recently from a comment from somebody. And if that's the case, what I heard in that comment was, I'm done with the way my twin flame has treated me. He's such a jerk. I'm getting treated so much better. And, you know, all this talk. And that is your ego, okay? Because truly we have a pure love for our twin flame. And you walking in line with your values and finding a karmic relationship that aligns with your energetic vibration is beautiful. And nobody denies you that. And that's a good thing. And if your energetic vibration and if your values and everything was in alignment with your twin flame, you'd be playing out a relationship now. Probably wouldn't be a harmonious one, considering there's two unhealed entities for most of us. But you would be playing out a relationship. You would be in the same vibrational space. So when a karmic relationship comes in, sometimes it's there to just show us more of what we want, remind us, you know, it's contrast, remind us how we want to be treated, help us get back into alignment with ourselves, or it could be for another lesson or healing purpose. And whether you're receiving lots of love or you're facing a challenge in that relationship, either way, that is for more healing. And what we need to realize is that our twin flame is the ultimate. It's the other half of our soul. It is the purest of form of our own self-love that we can express. So when you're dissing your twin flame going, he treated me awful, he da-da-da, you're really saying, I treated myself awful. I really allowed myself to be treated awfully. So if a new karmic relationship comes in that's walking in line with your new values, because you've set new values, because you set new, intentions, that's great. But if those wounds, core wounds underneath are still unhealed, they're going to resurface in that relationship too. So still keep working on yourselves, you guys, no matter what, whether it's separation, if you're moving on to a new karmic relationship, if you're just playing out a long separation, if you're in a day separation like we were. It's so important to keep focusing on you, keep focusing on the healing, and keep sending the pure love, not contingent upon the 3D behaviors of your twin flame, to your twin, because it's the only way a union will accelerate. It's the potential for a union will accelerate. It's the only way a union will be harmonious, is if we keep healing, if we keep loving ourselves, if we keep walking in line with our values, if we keep loving the other person, not hating on them. And I know that feeling. I really do. You guys, I've been there, and I know I had so many days in my separation when I struggled through it, and I was hating on him. And I have times now in our playing out this union, right, as we step closer into it, and some days we go through tumultuous days, or we come further apart, but it's still a matter of practicing the tools that we've learned. It's a matter of still staying in alignment with ourselves and healing ourselves at a deep level. The shadow work, the loving ourselves, the hugging our inner child, the realizing and recognizing our triggers, and then with that awareness starting to shift our behaviors. And those behaviors are the ones that are going to, as they shift, they're going to not only change our genetic makeup and change our DNA, but our twin flames also, and you'll see them shift as well. This is, like I said, blind faith, trust. It's trusting those of us who are further along in the process, who have results, who have worked with, I've worked with hundreds of twin flames now, and the symptoms are all similar, and the core wounds are all similar, and the separation angst is all similar until we get into surrender. And it is so beautiful and amazing and gratifying to talk to some of my clients now and hear them shift from a really yucky place into the surrender space, deeper into their healing, more onto their mission, feeling good rather than feeling yucky, coming out of the tears and going into joy. It's awesome, and that's what this process is really about. And karmic relationships and twin flames will line up for us in divine order and perfect timing. And hold the love and hold the space. Just like that video that I alluded to earlier in this video, you can watch it. It was from probably, like I said, 8, 9, 10 months ago, and I posted it. It's titled Holding Space versus Waiting. And it talks about, when we hold the space, we're not focused on the lack of someone being there. We're just holding a place for them to come back in when they're ready and sending them unconditional love. When you're waiting, you're looking at the lack of. And guess what? When you're focused on the lack of something, you're going to get more lack, more lack, more lack. You're going to get that in return. It's law of attraction. So you're going to pull your fears in. You're going to pull your focus in. But when you're just holding space, you've carved out the space. You've got love in your heart that you're still vibrating. You're not putting your life on hold. You're just holding that space for that person to do what they need to do their healing, to do their growth, and to come back when they're ready. Okay? And that's trust. It takes a lot of trust and surrender. So I hope this is helpful. I will leave you with that. If anyone wants to book a private session with me, you can do so on the website, thetwinflamefamily.com. Click on schedule a session. All right, you guys, I'll see you soon. Bye.